Hey everyone, we have just connected onto Bear Notch Road in New Hampshire. This road is gated during the winter, not plowed, too steep, high elevation, would cost too much to maintain, and it would be just too dangerous during the icy times of years. Most people around here don't carry tire chains. We don't have any of those mandatory chain-up areas in New England that I know of. So no one's prepared for it. So this road's closed that time of year. But we're taking a ride up here today to see the fall colors. This road, I took it like a month ago and I thought it might be a really good road. People told me it would be a real good road. So I just drove here after doing Mount Washington today. Today is what day? Today is the 4th of October. We just went up the Mount Washington Auto Road, which gave us beautiful views of all the bright orange mountains around it. It would have been even better if it wasn't for all the wildfire smoke, which it was clear that there was a lot of wildfire smoke when we got to the top. Looking down, it made everything look dimmer than it really was. So this road might not even be at peak yet. Around here, the elevation is so varying. Like in the Mount Washington area, it's higher elevation. Everything is at peak right now. As we were going up that road, we went into an area where the trees were already bald. They're expecting snow up there in a couple days, multiple days in a row, so that road might close. Yeah, this road here, it's starting to get pretty, but it's not at peak yet. Maybe if we're in the area in a couple weeks, we'll take a ride back up here, but even if we miss it, just a couple hours down south, that'll be pretty in a few weeks. So we are going up in elevation now, so maybe it'll get prettier fast. We started the bottom at 81 degrees. We are now at 79 degrees, dropping as we go up this really steep hill. Maybe it'll look prettier as we get to the top. We will see. It only took about 27 minutes to get here since we left the Mount Washington Auto Road. So we got up here pretty fast. This is like 20 degrees above normal for this time of year. Oh, we just dropped down to 77 degrees. We're dropping fast. This week is going to be in the 30s every night, so that'll get the colors going even more. This week and next week are supposed to be the most colorful weeks of the year for up here, and the colors this year are supposed to be more vibrant than they've been the past couple years because this year we had no drought. The trees are healthier, they keep their leaves longer, they all fade more uniformly when they have a good water year. Next week's going to be all rain, so any places that are at peak or would still be at peak, a lot of the leaves will probably get lost from the rain. But this road here, this will probably look really pretty in another week or even 2 weeks. Because all these trees we're going under right now, what type are they? Okay, the ones that are very green look like oak tree leaves, if I can see that clear enough. Those turn yellowish. They're not the most pretty tree. If you want bright yellow, you got to go a place where there's a lot of birch. If you want orange and red, you got to go a place where there's a ton of maple trees. Some oak trees, depending what type it is, some of them do turn red, but not very bright red. So this is a very fun road to drive, actually. I did this earlier in the year. Went up here looking, because there's a lot of dirt roads that spur off of this if you're interested in those. But we're not going to go down them today since it doesn't seem to be very colorful yet. Oh, bug just hit the windshield. Yes, I think you guys can definitely see the colors are getting a little bit better as we go up in elevation. Because we're climbing fast. This road goes so high that the top is even a little bit rocky. Like the trees start to get a little smaller because of the elevation. Trees don't really grow above 4,000 feet on this side of the country. Just too cold and windy, unlike out west. I saw nice beautiful forests that are like, what, 10,000 feet? Look how dark this area of the road is, blocked by the mountain. Very shady, beautiful. So not the best color. But I do think I came to northern New England or I say northern New Hampshire at the perfect time today to film the Mount Washington area, because they are very well at peak. Maybe they'd get a little bit prettier, but there'd be no view. The whole rest of the forecast, there's no sun, no clear skies. So I think by the time that would pass, whenever it would pass, the color would be gone and the auto road might be shut down for the year since they're expecting snow. If it does shut down this early, that's earlier than normal. It usually shuts down the second, third week of October. Sometimes it even goes into early November depending on the weather. And if it gets really snow covered and melts out, will they reopen it? I don't know. Because I've never done the Mount Washington Auto Road before this year. Did it today, did it like a couple weeks ago. I did it again today because a lot of people wanted me to do it again during the beautiful fall colors. Some people told me the views on that mountain wouldn't have been that good since it's mostly evergreen, but exactly what I thought was the truth. The mountain wasn't pretty. People were right. It's a lot of evergreens. There's not much prettiness on Mount Washington itself, but you go up there for the very high view of the other beautiful mountains surrounding it. That's the best part of why you go up there to see it. That sun is blaring. I tried to clean the windshield as best as possible before we started the day. It's still pretty clean. Very few bugs actually hit it, but I'm now seeing the wiping I did on the inside. There's a few smears when the sun hits it, but I don't even think it's showing up on the camera. Today I learned that having a bigger engine going down like a auto road where you have to downshift, it helps a lot with saving brakes. My old car, which was a 4-cylinder, I burned up the brakes a couple times out west, but even after burning them up, I still went like almost 50,000 miles before having to replace the pads. You know, it was just that they heated up a lot even in low gear, because a 4-cylinder engine doesn't have a lot of whatever you call it, reverse torque or pullback. It can't stop itself as easily. But driving a 6-cylinder, I got out halfway down the mountain to check the brakes, and downshifting and keeping like 12 miles an hour going down really helped. I was actually able to touch the brake disc for a few seconds. Couldn't believe how cold they actually were. Wow, the color up here, this is starting to look nice, just climbing up in elevation a bit. Up here, you might even be able to argue is a little bit past peak parts of it. It depends on the type of tree. Back around that last corner, the tops of the trees are already bald, but the bottoms are beautiful and red. This road, it's smooth, going around all these nice corners. Does this connect to the Kancamagus highway? I know it comes out near it, but I don't know if I actually have ever been on the exact road. We'll see where this comes out. It'll be a while before we get to the end of it. I think we still got quite a drive. We're still going up in elevation, I believe. If we were on the right road, I might have been thinking of a different road back there when I said it would get rocky at the top. This is pretty, this spot. Got some good color. This is getting pretty. The other side of the mountain looks a lot more pretty than where we started. Why though? Is it a colder breeze? Is this where all the cold wind is blowing through and the mountain's protecting the other side from being cold or protecting it from a frost? This side looks a lot prettier. It did for back there. It still looks prettier. Yeah, this side looks more along. it said speed limit 40. Everyone's going about 45 right now. Usually the truck is pretty good at telling me what the speed limit is. It shows on my dash. It's got a little thing that says what the speed limit is in case you're not from the area. It tells you. The car already knows what the speed limits are. It's wrong. It's not wrong often, since it's able to update via satellite every now and then. But, you know, it's telling me the speed limit on this road's 30, which is not true. It was also telling me the speed limit was 30 on Mount Washington's road. I don't know if that's true either. The colors are pretty here. I hope it's showing up on camera. It looks dimmer on the camera, but it might just be because it's so bright out. Actually gets rocky at the top with places you can get out and look. Maybe we can connect to that. I'm hoping that road at the end of this is that. I'm not sure though. I don't know these roads that well. I've only been on them a couple times before. This year was like one of the best growing seasons I've ever seen. Well, healthiest for the trees. It wasn't great for growing a garden. It actually stunted it. Most of this year was below average all summer, rainier than normal, but it helped the forest. Everything seemed to catch back up. The trees hadn't produced pine cones in quite a few years because of the drought this year. All these white pine trees you're seeing, they're loaded with pine cones. They'll be falling pretty soon. What's the sign say? Oh, this is the Kancamagus Highway. So maybe right here we're going to take a right. Hopefully this is the road I'm thinking of that goes really high elevation and is going to be very beautiful. Because this area looks like it's peak. Looks really good. Most of the people you see on the road with us are tourists. Like the car in front of us, probably, obviously, it says Florida. So this area of New Hampshire, a lot of areas of Maine, any tourist spot up north goes through these phases. Like, I'd say from the end of June when kids get out of school all the way through the end of August is the main tourist season for summer. Then the end of August through September is a dead time. There's not many people up here. As soon as you get into the early October through October, there's leaf peepers everywhere. Traffic ticks up again, especially on weekends. Then late October, past peak, it's a dead spot again until November when it starts snowing. Then it becomes ski and snowmobile season, which the roads will be packed again with people doing that. Then when the roads start to thaw out again in late March or April, then it's a dead spot again until June. Right here we had a big angry beaver issue earlier this year. I think it was at this guardrail. They had a pretty big flood going. I think this is where it was. No, this is a bridge. It's on this road somewhere. Wow, we did the whole Bear Notch in just 15 minutes. I thought that road was a lot longer. maybe it's this one. I'm so happy. Wait, this is where the beaver issue was, right here. This is it. To the left was completely flooded, and it was actually going over the top of the road. Yeah, you see how it's all eroded there on the right from going over. Trees look beautiful here. I'm so happy this year rained a lot. You see all these white pine trees? They still look a little bit scraggly, but they're filling in. The bunches of pine needles are becoming big and bushy again, which we haven't seen in a while. Yeah, see, the ones here still look skinny and scraggly. Hopefully we have a couple more nice, wet, rainy years. It'll help them out a lot. Last year, I was afraid a lot of forest and trees looked like they were just going to die out. And if we had another dry year, a lot of that would have happened. Last year, out on the logging roads that I travel a lot, some people will call it a forest, but it's technically not a forest anymore. It's basically, Maine has a 16 million acre tree farm, because without the biodiversity of the forest, a lot of animals have trouble even surviving out there when they have giant patches of just one tree. But anyway, out there, when they replant the trees, there's areas that'll look like a Christmas tree farm. It's the same type of tree. It basically looks exactly like it, because that is the same type of tree. Those areas, trees were less than 20 feet tall. They weren't big yet, so the really hot, dry weather just had entire areas, big areas, just completely died out because they didn't have the root systems to trees that were like only a decade old or so. They had big areas that just completely died and baked with the heat last year. Around this corner looks like we're a little bit past peak. So you see, it's all about elevation. We've only been driving 17 minutes, and this whole road, elevation, different areas, like some areas that are wetter than others will have the foliage first, typically. Varying terrain here. You can even see fall colors sometimes in July if a beaver flooded the woods. Drowning trees become colorful very fast. I'll keep you guys zoomed in a little bit for the rest of the video, unless we have a beautiful view where we need panoramic again. Lots of tourists going by. Just reading the license plates to see where they're from. There's a lot of hikers in this spot. A lot of traffic. Not as bad as the summer though. In the summer you'll see popular hiking trails. You literally have to walk a mile. That's how far down the road they'd be parked. This area's looking pretty. Doesn't look like it's at peak. A week it would be probably. A road like this, you can drive this in the rain. Doesn't matter next week, because it would be a little more colorful. Today did matter though, Mount Washington, because there'd be no view if it was raining. But I got a feeling they might close it next week if they actually get snow like forecasted. I don't think they'll let people up there. That car in front of us from Florida, that's the furthest away plate I've seen today that I've noticed. Most of them going by, I don't really have to read it, I can just tell by the color. We just had Rhode Island go by. That one was Ohio, I think. Maine. that's Ohio, where it's got like, it says Ohio in red or encased by red. I wouldn't have known that if I didn't actually, I think I read it. Can't see that one. Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire. I think I said one of those wrong, I'm not sure. That view in that parking lot doesn't look that great yet. So this is the road, I think. Yeah, we're gonna get to like the top of a mountain. We don't have much more daylight this time of year. The sun goes down at about 6, completely dark by 6:30 now. Days are getting short fast. Daylight savings is coming soon. Are they still talking about getting rid of that? I like it and I don't like it at the same time. I think it's cool going through the extreme of that, but it throws everything off. I like how you spring ahead and you got it really late in the summer. But in the winter, I don't always like how it gets dark so early. Check. How am I doing for MPG going up Mount Washington, going up these? I can't tell you. It says 24 MPG, but that's factoring in because I started the car at the top of Mount Washington. It's factoring in that awesome mileage of going down the hill. Can't really tell. I wish I shut the engine off at the bottom of Mount Washington because I wonder how bad it would be going up that for like 40 minutes straight, just up a giant hill. Because I average usually 19 mpg on flatland. A couple weeks ago when I went down to North Carolina trying to chase that tropical storm, and you know, if I went for the tropical storm before it or the one we just had after it, it was flooding everywhere. But of course the one I went to, it wasn't that great. But anyways, down there the land is a lot flatter, and I was averaging like 24 everywhere. It's just the hills up here make it a lot worse. And right now we're going up high elevation. I love all this stuff. It's now 73 degrees. We started at, I think it said 82. Up here looking nice. Look at that, the wildfire smoke is pretty bad right there. Or, yeah, good amount of it. So this road I don't think is as pretty as it will be. Next week is supposed to be the absolute peak, but it's going to be rainy out, and it doesn't matter when you're driving by the trees, but you won't have the views in the rain. So I decided to film this because I don't think I'm going to come back to the area by then. We'll see. If it becomes really nice out, maybe I'll do it again. Kind of look past peak. It's weird that parts of them look past peak, parts of them look still green. I don't know if this is going to get more colorful or not if it goes on a bit. excavator guy up here is holding up a lot of traffic, but I kind of like that we're going a bit slower. Can see things a little easier. And there's a lot of cars behind me. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of them behind me. The guy behind me is very close. He's trying to get some better MPG. For a second. Looks nice, the sun shining through the trees. Really pretty. It's pretty when I'm in the shade, but all the leaves are in the sun. This looks past peak now up here towards the top, I'd say, yeah. Is this road open in the winter? I don't know. I think so. I've definitely been on it when it's been a little icy. Now that we're so far up, there's mostly just pine trees. I hope the sun's not going to be a huge problem going down the other side. I feel like it might be constant, but I'm not sure what angle the road goes down. Thankfully, it's turning away from the sun. The sun's at a good angle now where it's not interrupting the view. Perfect sun angle at the moment. I think this is perfect. Cool that you're allowed to camp out here basically anywhere you want. Just park and you gotta walk a quarter mile deep and you can set up camp. And there's supposed to be like a solar eclipse next year. I think someone said it's like in April. I don't understand why the guy behind me is tailgating so hard and he's like trying to swerve back and forth. I'm keeping a good amount of distance and he knows there's something in front of me going slow, so I don't know why you gotta act like that. Actually pop way less often than when I was little, and compared to other people I've driven with. It seems to happen to me less and less as I get older. Or am I just used to it from driving a lot? I don't know. this road ends up. I know wherever it ends up, I'll know the way. But in my head, I'm trying to think, does this come out in Lincoln, New Hampshire, near the trading post with all the circus bears? Or is this coming out somewhere else? I don't remember where this comes out, but there's no signal, there's nothing out here. But there's lots of traffic because everyone's doing what we're doing. Going here just to see the colorful trees because this is one of the best roads to view them on. And I would say that, just like we showed today, certain parts of the road seem to be past peak, but a good portion seems like it hasn't even hit peak yet. So I think this road will be pretty for a while. Still snow in the woods because it's shady and the sun can't melt it, but yet the yard is sunny and it's warm. Every little breeze, it feels like air conditioning pouring out of the woods as it's pushing over all that snow that's remaining. It can also work in reverse. You can also feel big blasts of heat, and these trees are so red that we're driving over. That mountain in front of us is looking pretty. I don't think it's at peak yet, that mountain. I see a lot of green trees up there too. I feel like now that we're going down in elevation, it's getting less colorful. So this part of the road will be very colorful in another week or two, while the top will be, I think, worse for color. Like this area I'm driving right now, this will look pretty in a couple more weeks, but not yet. Not yet. We need some more cold weather and time. But I hope today's video is interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching and have a great day. It looks pretty here, but maybe one more week it'll look even better. I think the sun looks really pretty on the power lines. So shiny. Makes them look like they're ice covered. Maybe it would be worthwhile taking another trip up here in like a week or so. This looks very pretty. Look at the power lines. I think that looks beautiful. Today was a good day. I wonder how much traffic is going to be up here in town. It's usually pretty bad during tourist season. I think I usually bypass the town. I think we can get on 91 South up here before we even get into town. I think that's how it works. I feel like I'm close to the Trail Welsh Dickey, which we did a few weeks ago, and I think this is the area of that. Feels like it. So much glare and sun. Getting those winter sun angles. You can really see with the sun, look at the wildfire smoke up in those mountains. Much traffic today. Sometimes it can be pretty bad here. north ramp is up here through the light. Next right, getting on the highway. Maybe I should have went north for a little bit. I bet it looks really pretty through like where Mount Canyon is. Although the sun angle coming from that direction might be too bad to film. How bad is it to film? I guess I could have driven up there and filmed it just on the way back. Wouldn't take long to get up there. Maybe next time. Yeah, from this side with the sun behind us, it looks really pretty, these hills.